What up? What up? What up? It's RJ Fancy Football Talk, and we back again. You know what time it is. This Rodney. So Jay, what's going on, bro?
Hey, the playoffs are what's going on, and I'm in them. So it's time to get it going. I'm in 8 leagues. Two of them I'm done. Did not was not as fortunate to make the playoffs in those ones, but the other six I'm ready to roll. How about yourself?
I'm in the playoffs in all my leagues.
There you
I
go.
made the last one by end of the week.
Uh,
I needed a loss. I got lost. I needed to win. I got in. I'm good. So, hey, man,
yeah.
I got what, two buys this week, and
Okay.
I got a couple games, so I'm good. I feel confident, man. There's gonna be some chips coming home this week, man.
Yeah.
Coming home in a couple of weeks, man.
I got bye weeks in two of the leagues I'm in. The other ones I gotta work from the bottom, but I ain't too worried about it. And shout out to our producers. She was actually playing in 4 leagues. The one that she's in with both of us did not go so well. She was very injury plagued, to say the least, this year. But she made the playoffs in two of her other leagues that she's in. So congrats to her. And she's also, I told you I play best ball. She's best balling as well, and she actually is number one in the best ball league we're in together. So she's better than me for that one. Speaking of being better than me, so are you apparently, at least this week with our game picks. So congrats, you are at the top.
I'm
Only
coming.
missed 2 games, but I'm in that number one spot overall still. But you catching up. I gotta say, this was a good week
I
for you.
told you I'm coming.
I should have picked your boys. We talked about the 40-second play clock on that the 49ers game, and I was going back and forth. I went against y'all, and
I
I
told you
wish I
not
hadn't.
to. I'm not betting against my boys no
No
more.
more this year.
No more
They
at
looking
all. I
good.
can't do it. Nope. But I'm coming though. I'm coming
Yeah.
though. Definitely coming.
Do
So,
your thing. I'm not mad
hey.
at you.
Well, we're gonna start the show off a little different
Yeah.
today. Um, we got a special show for y'all. We got some rankings. We're gonna do some rankings for quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. So we're not gonna do the top players from last week. We're just gonna jump into some news. So the first thing on the news today is DeAndre Hopkins is gonna miss the rest
Right.
of the season. Um, Big blow for the
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Uh, it's a big blow. It could be the division now
Yeah.
uh, if they don't finish out strong. So they got enough wins to make the playoffs, but they
Yeah.
haven't clinched the division yet.
Yeah.
So definitely is a big blow, real life and fantasy. So for anybody that got them, I feel bad for you. Go pick
I,
up Christian Kirk. So
actually, what I did this week in a couple of them, I'm pretty sure you saw, I picked up AJ Green because he
yeah,
got a lot of snaps and a lot of targets in that past game. Christian Kirk is nice as well. In fact, speaking of making the playoffs by the skin of your teeth, and off the viewer of the show plays with us, his team actually had Christian Kirk in that past game, and I talked to him before. I was like, look, you're looking for Christian Kirk to get like 2 or 3 long bombs, one of them for a touchdown, and you might win. Fortunately, that didn't happen. He had that one in like the fourth quarter that had me sweating a
yeah,
little bit. I was like, y'all don't get this, man. But yeah, you're never gonna Christian Kirk. I like, but he's not a volume guy. I like AJ
yeah.
Green a bit more because of the volume. So, welcome Justin to the show, and welcome Orlando Lewis. That's my mom, y'all. So, glad to have both of y'all here. Hopefully, Justin, your squads are doing every time you come in. It seems like you've been winning, so I'm pretty sure you're in some playoffs. So let us know what you look
Yeah.
like. But
So we're gonna jump to some more news. We got
yeah,
and this is a two-part news, but I'm gonna start with this one, then I end with the other one. The
okay,
NFLPA is pushing for daily COVID-19
right,
testing, which I can see, and like I said, I'm gonna touch a little bit more on that, like at the end of this news that we're gonna talk about. But I can see them doing that just because of what's going on.
yeah,
So definitely. So but let's jump to this. And I kind of like this piece of news, and I kind of don't. I got mixed feelings about it. The NFL approved a 1-year trial for head coaches to interview the final 2 weeks of the season.
right,
Now, my question for you is: does that um, kind of mess up the team that he's previously on, and how does that help the team that he's trying to interview for?
Right. I saw it. I don't really think it makes a big. There's some certain reason, obviously, why you might not want your guy distracted, but
Mm-hmm.
I think these guys are professional enough that it's not a big. I don't think it's going to be a big issue. So
Okay.
at least that's what I'm thinking now. Unless someone's like about to mail it in because I got a new job. But if you're that type if you're that type of guy, you're probably not the type of person they want to hire anyway. So I think they'll be able to handle it well. They're adults. I mean, in our regular day, how often that I don't. I love my job, but how often do people interview for other jobs while they're working at a different one? It's all the time.
Ah man, I don't know. I love my job too. I've been there for a long time, so I couldn't tell you. I have no clue about that. So I ain't
I
looked for a
feel
job in a long time, brother. So definitely.
yeah.
And then this one is interesting. Allegations against Dan Schneider.
Right.
They say he tried to disrupt the NFL's the sexual harassment probe they got going on,
Uh,
but the commissioner came out and said that it wasn't true.
yeah.
Even if it wasn't true, is still something wrong with this.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's trying to cover up for him or what. I couldn't tell you, but something ain't right here.
I
It's
think
something's wrong.
the biggest issue with this one is the fact that Congress is now saying, "Yo, we need information. Y'all need to turn over all these reports," and it is bringing a humongous, as if the Washington football team wasn't bad enough. It's producing a really huge stench across the NFL, and I think that's sort of why Goodell's like, "Oh no, it's cool," but at the same time, when Congress is involved, it ain't good for the
Yeah,
NFL. So whether he was, I would find it very difficult to believe that he didn't try to interfere with that investigation at all because it's Daniel Snyder. He's been around long enough to have a certain reputation. So
and that's just weird. Like, because I know the wife kind of runs the team now. I
yeah,
know she has more control than he does. Not control, but
but
she's the
yes,
face of the team.
he gave up the responsibilities because of this investigation, right?
Yeah, so she has. So I mean, we don't know. We'll see, but I just think a lot of craziness is going on right now in Washington. So it got to be fixed. Either he sells the team or relinquishes rights to the team. Anything, but something got to be done with this situation if they're gonna keep dragging it on.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't happen earlier. I was fully expecting that this would be a situation where they're going to force because all last season they were talking about the potential of a forced sale.
Yeah,
When like Nike was taking the Washington football stuff off the shelves, and then the sexual harassment thing came. There, it's like how do you survive it? So far, he's doing all right.
he.
So, but we'll see. Like I said, Congress is involved. I don't see this ending well. But we'll see. Welcome Nita to the show. Hola. We also have let's hit a couple of questions before we continue with the news. Gibson, Mitchell, Javonte Williams, and Zeke. You got to pick two. Question from Justin. Who you going with off that list?
I'm going with Javante for
Definitely.
one. Mitchell has not practiced this week yet.
Right.
Um, and I'm going Gibson.
Yeah. I am.
Zeke is still hurt.
Yeah, Zeke. I'm not trusting. We'll talk more about my trust of Zeke when we get to our playoff rankings. But I don't trust Zeke right now. Javonte Williams, I think, is gonna be stellar for those that have him on his playoffs. I do, and I fully intend to put him in the lineups everywhere I can. The question between Gibson and Mitchell is close. Like you said, Mitchell's not practicing yet. If he does practice, I like Mitchell better.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm gonna say Gibson is your safe one. But I do wait to see if we can get some practices in for Elijah Mitchell. The other question, just from Justin as well, he has Stafford, Jones, Javonte Hill, Justin Jefferson, Waddle, Pitts, the Dolphins defense, and Matt Gay playing against Dak, Barkley, Najee, Cooper, Lockett, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Gronk, Green Bay's defense, and Graham Gano. Who you got winning between that one?
Stafford. I like his team.
Yeah.
I just like. I like Jefferson. I love Waddle. Pitts is Stafford's been playing well.
Right.
Javonte Williams, I'm a huge fan of. Tyreek Hill, he hasn't really played well lately.
Also coming up more lately, yeah.
But it's the Chiefs, and they could get off. I'm not a huge fan of Barkley from the other team.
He's been all right. The only thing is he's literally the entire Giants offense right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, Lockett stepped up lately because Lockett never, this time of the year, Lockett's always, he seemed like he just fades away this time of the year. Gronk, obviously, with Brady.
Yeah.
I'm going to take him close. I like the Fins defense. I love the Fins defense this week. They got the Jets. Yeah. So I'm taking his team slight edge. If Dak show up, though, it could get close.
And that's the reason I like Justice team a little bit better. Dak is on our list. I obviously like him. We've talked about Dak since the beginning of the season. But I like Stafford more. And I like the running backs more for just obviously Kyle Pitts has not lived up to the hype I think we've expected. So you probably lose that tight end battle. But I think you're probably winning most everywhere else.
Especially with Jefferson and Waddle. He's winning that. Even Lockett, Cooper, they've been good, but I mean, Jefferson and Waddle are just two different type of receivers. So, yeah.
So, definitely. Just following up what happened with Daniel Schneider. Everything. He's a horrible person and owner of a horrible team, and it's just that same investigation from last year with the sexual harassment and everything else that was happening with that team, and whether he was impeding that. There's a report that he was impeding that investigation. Roger Goodell says it's not true, but I don't think it matters because Congress is looking into it and they're demanding that they get all those emails and everything else. So it's a crap show, if you will, in watching the football team. Situation normal.
Definitely normal. So they gotta fix that situation though before next season. Something got to be done. So let's jump back into this.
Back to the news.
And this one is a little bit disturbing to me, and I don't know why he still got a job. Urban Meyer, they said the Jags said they won't rush to a decision on what they want to do with him, but an allegation came out today that he kicked the kicker, is a grown man, by the way. And the kicker came out and was like, yo, why you kick me for? He said, I'm the coach. I can kick you when I want to. Now, this is not college. These are real grown men. Like, do you understand what could happen to you? Like, he wouldn't try that with a linebacker.
Oh no! I was gonna say it's kind of telling that he picked on a kicker of all. No disrespect to the kickers, but like you said, he ain't try that with somebody else. So
you ain't trying that with a linebacker. You ain't trying that with a running back. You ain't trying that with no other position out there. You definitely ain't trying that with no old lineman. So these guys are grown men. They getting paid millions of dollars. This is not college. You can't kick these guys around like that. He need to be out of a job, honestly.
Again, horrible coach, and we've both said that since the beginning. And the fact that they said, like you said, they're not making any decisions yet. If he comes back to coach the Jaguars next year, I wouldn't be completely surprised, but I'm not expecting it. And I don't know. That's just been a disaster, like literally from the start. So we'll see what happens. If they bring him back, guarantee the Jaguars for being terrible again.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you on that. Definitely.
We have a question: will there be a Super Bowl with all these players getting the? I think that's coming up. We talked a little bit about the COVID situation. Did you have a second part of that? Because you said there was.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So stay tuned. There you go.
So the COVID-19 problems in the NFL.
Yeah.
So right now the teams with COVID problems are the Browns. They have 14 players with COVID.
Yeah.
Washington has 18, and the Rams have 9.
The Raiders have 0. I just want to say that for the record.
And the 49ers have 0.
Yeah.
So as we speak, they're saying they don't think they're going to change the place of the games where the Browns are playing in.
Yeah.
And Washington, I don't think they can fill up 9 of the 18 as starters.
Yeah. They got hit hard.
They got hit hard. So I don't know what's the situation going on there. I don't know. I mean, obviously they can get players off of, the practice squad and bringing players off the street, but it's not the same. But the league has already said that they're not canceling games. So either you're going to get players off the street, get players off the practice squad. But mind you only can carry 10 players on the practice squad. So that doesn't even cover the 18 that they're missing. So definitely.
Yeah. Hey, I think it's going to go much like Roger Goodell basically already implied about this Browns Raiders game. He's like, look, we're not moving. In fact, they said it before the season. Like, they're not moving games. They're not canceling stuff. So whether it be a Super Bowl, yeah, they're going to just push through this. But for fantasy relevancy, I think this could become a problem. Yes. Not just for and we'll go slightly off NFL for a second to talk NBA. Our Bulls, we're both Bulls fans. Yes. They got 10 players. They are already postponing 2 games. They're doing for that team. If things keep continue with the way this Omicron variant's been going through, and they have to have guys keep sitting, fantasy perspective, I hope your bench is deep. I guess
it gets a little dicey. It's gonna get a little dicey.
This could be very dicey getting in the playoffs and going back to the actual NFL instead of fantasy. Mm-hmm. It could get dicey for some NFL teams because
definitely could.
If you miss, it's one and done. You miss a guy in an important game, or in some of these teams, you miss 14 guys in some important games. It's going to be difficult to recover from.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I love Neil's next question, man. I wanted to talk about this tonight, man, but I didn't know if it was appropriate for the show. But she said, I know this is an NFL show, but what you think about Deion Sanders down the prime play? I want to say this is huge for all. Yeah. This is huge. This is so huge. Like, and the thing about it is, he got and I was telling somebody earlier, the reason he went there, and I don't know if y'all seen the actual video of it. You should go watch it. It's pretty dope how he made his decision. And he got a NIL deal through Barstool, who is also has a NIL, who has a deal with Deion in Jackson State. So it kind of ties in. It's about to start changing shifts really, really, really quick in college football, because now these guys don't need to go to these big schools in order to put their name out there. And with this NIL deal, these guys are getting paid $500,000, $750,000 to feed their families and take care of their family. They don't need these schools. And honestly, I feel like college has been paying kids underneath the table anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to like the Reggie Bush days and all that stuff. So I feel like they was doing it anyway, regardless. It's just now that it's actually legal to do something like that. Now, don't be surprised now if a lot of these other guys actually go to these HBCU schools. It's gonna be huge, man. I'm telling you, the tide is starting to shift, and it's because it happened in basketball, and it's happening in college football now. So definitely, these big schools are gonna have to start doing something extra. I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna take. Yeah. So, what you think about it?
Oh, I'm loving it because I'm an HBCU grad. Quite proud. By the way, while I was talking to HBCUs, Pharrell was the graduation speaker at North State. Now an honorary member of the band. Ain't got nothing to do with sports or football, but I'm gonna say it anyway. But HBCUs, I definitely like to support though, and it's good. I was happy when Deion Sanders, for one, just went there to be a coach, because a lot of times these players because like you said, they go to these big schools for this reason or the other, and it's like the HBCUs got left out, and it's a bit of a shame. So I'm very happy to see Deion there, and then the attention that he's bringing to that school and this particular player. Florida State, you got to feel kind of bad. Never before, like you said, before these deals became possible for college players to get paid, never would someone have turned down Florida State to go to Jackson State.
And so. the thing about it is, you really don't need those big colleges anymore. Yeah. Not even just because of the NILs. It's more about exposure.
Yeah.
The internet is so big now that you can make your own YouTube channel and promote your own self. You don't need these schools to do it.
Right.
Like you don't need these big schools to put you on TV. Jackson State was on TV. They won a bowl game. They won a championship. Deion Sanders won 2 Coach of the Year awards this year.
Yeah. So
in his first year at Jackson State. Just imagine what they're gonna do when he actually get acclimated
some time there,
a couple years down the line. It's gonna be crazy how I followed Deion on Instagram.
Okay.
And he said this. He said he was in a room with his coaching staff, and he was like, "We're not recruiting these number 2 guys. We need these blue chip guys that we can see on Sunday."
Yeah.
And when I seen that, I was like, "Yo, he trying to build this thing like big." It's gonna be crazy. I'm telling you, man.
Eddie going back in HBCU football for a while. If you watch Eddie Robinson, he built a phenomenal program at Grambling. If Deion is gonna stay at Jackson State long term, he's about to do some monster stuff that we've never seen. Deion is doing doggone commercials with Nick Saban for Avalanche, exactly. And that kind of notoriety. At an HBCU, this is going to be really interesting to see how good he can build that program. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited too. I think it's going to be huge. That's big news. When I seen it, I was like, man, that is huge for HBCUs. Yeah. All we need is somebody like a Carmelo son or something just to go to HBCU. Like something like that will make people think to say, you know what, these number 1 guys is going there.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm taking my son there.
Especially if you, not just for football, especially in like basketball, you don't need a whole lot of guys to completely turn a thing around. Then, they get into like something like March Madness, or go back a few years like how Norfolk State beat Missouri in March Madness, taking down to number 2. Like I said, it's going to be really, really, really cool. We got Norfolk State should have been playing against Jackson State. In that weekend, because we led the MEAC. Welcome Jasper Lewis JLS, that's Jasper Lewis Sr. to the show. It's where Eddie Robinson told black players that a long time ago, going back to if they would go to the HBCUs, how they could change those programs. At one point, he placed more black players in the NFL than any other coach. A comment from Nita. So let's see how far this goes, and whether other NFL players decide to do the same thing and become coaches, because we've talked before about the Rooney Rule and how sometimes it can be difficult to get jobs in the NFL. College is better, but it's still not great, and so this could be another avenue where you could see guys going there to turn these kind of. It's just interesting to see how this thing is going to work out.
And one last note for me is I applaud Deion for not taking the money.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Deion could have took the money after coaching this year and went to any top 5 college, and he could have went to UCLA. He could have went anywhere and coach, but he said, no, I'm staying at Jackson State. And I can applaud that, and I appreciate that, because at the end of the day, he's not just teaching them football, he's teaching them life.
Yeah.
And that's the thing he's instilling in them. He's giving them life lessons, but also and the thing is, he's Deion Sanders. I don't know if y'all seen on Facebook, but a fan actually burnt a signed Deion Sanders Florida State jersey because Deion Sanders took the number 1 cornerback coming out of high school. He had it in a case and he took it out, signed by Deion, and burned it.
That's
you
dumb.
Tell me what kind of world we live in. I mean, come on now, man.
That's dumb.
Come on.
He just took money out of his own pocket, but okay, that's
Yeah.
do your thing. And I know you love this next comment about the greatest wide receiver ever,
Jerry Rice.
Mississippi Valley State.
Yep.
You can come from
They say he
anywhere.
ran. They say he was too slow to run the 40, but he
Mm-hmm.
burned their safety out there. So, hey, let's get into what we're talking about tonight, man.
Hey, let's start visiting some of these player rankings.
Let's go.
Want to start where? Quarterbacks or running backs?
Quarterbacks.
Where do you want to go?
Let's go to quarterbacks.
All right, let's do it.
So what we doing now? We have we me and him came up with a list of the top 10 quarterbacks going into the fantasy playoffs right at the moment. Um, so right now we start with quarterbacks, and the quarterback list is Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, and Joe Burrow. If you have any disagreements or if you feel like somebody's missing off this list, let us know. We can debate it all day long. We got time. Let's go. For me, Tom Brady is definitely number one.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has been the best quarterback in the NFL this year alone. Tom Brady has been the best fantasy quarterback this year alone. So, and like I said, we put this list together and we both agreed on this. But I love this list. I think we got it. We nailed it like what we needed to be at. I wouldn't move nobody off this list at all. But I think these guys are definitely can win you a championship in this playoffs.
Yeah, it's playoff time, so it's not like the rankings we did at the beginning where you can try to draft them. You either have them or you don't. But it's good going as well to try to assess where your team is when you compare it to others. And yeah, I think of course we made it, so I'm gonna of course like the list. But I'm with you. I had bye weeks in two of my leagues. The two leagues where I have the bye week, Tom Brady is my quarterback. And that is not a coincidence. Another one of my teams, I have Aaron Rodgers. I have a team with Justin Herbert. I've got a team with Matthew Stafford. I've got a team with Kyler Murray. All these guys that we're talking about have been producing all year. And so if you're going into the playoffs with any of these guys, there's a few that you might start to have some questions about. For instance, we have Josh Allen redeemed himself. And that game did not start well this past week, but Josh Allen is definitely the reason they were able to come back. So I think he'll be fine. You might have your questions about Patrick Mahomes because he in the whole offense for the Chiefs has not looked great lately. But going into the playoffs, I think you're not gonna bench. I don't care who your backup is. You're not gonna bench Patrick Mahomes. And you gotta have some confidence that they're gonna be able to turn this thing around. And so I think you're gonna feel really good about these guys. Any of them. We talked Kirk Cousins especially a few weeks ago when we were talking about our playoff push, and he's definitely one of those guys, and he's been doing nice things. Is there anybody that's not on this list you think deserves a little bit more notoriety? And before you answer, let me just also point out, visit us, rjfantasyfootballtalk.com. You can see this full list up on our website, and we'll post it to social media after the show for those that would like to have a copy of who we're ranking. But yeah, anybody you think deserves some notoriety that's not on the list?
I think Derek Carr deserves some notoriety. Derek Carr started off the year as probably the top three behind Brady and Stafford, I want to say. Started off as one of the top three quarterbacks in fantasy.
Yeah.
He's tapered off a little bit. But I still think, like for me, I have Derek Carr in a bunch of leagues. And I think I got him started in a couple. And he's still doing some good work for me. So I think Derek Carr, he deserves to be on this list. He's one of my main. But other than that, like off this list, I have Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford in a two quarterback league starting for me. And that's why I'm sitting at 11-3, sitting on the bye this week. So I'm not even mad at none of these guys. I feel like these guys. I have Aaron Rodgers in the league. have Justin Herbert and Matthew Stafford starting for me in the
Yeah.
2-quarterback league. So these guys have put up numbers, and they deserve to be on this list. But Derek Carr is probably the only one that I think needs to be here. That didn't make it, but I think definitely Derek Carr. You got anybody?
Well, I do have Derek Carr in the league as well. In fact, I'm looking over our list of our top 10. I have every single one of these players in the 8 leagues. I mean, I have every single one of these players with the exception of, well, no, there's no exception. With the exception of a name I'm about to say, Lamar Lamar Jackson. Going to the question of somebody that's not on this, I think if he's healthy, and I can't stress enough, if he's healthy, he could have some big. He has not been very great lately. He's thrown way too many interceptions. But for your playoff roster, I wouldn't say so much if it's a quarterback heavily, but if it's more of a standard type of league where you don't have like custom points for big bonuses for getting like 300 or 400-yard games. Lamar Jackson, a healthy again. Lamar Jackson around this time of year could be healthy. Another guy that's not on the list, and he would not have been in any top 10 kind of lists before or during the season, is your guy Jimmy Garoppolo, who's been playing exceptionally well lately. And though I don't think either one's our big Garoppolo believers, I am a believer in y'all's schedule to end this season. I don't know if you all watching have paid attention to it, but the 49ers schedule this week is Atlanta. He's gonna do pretty well against them. Tennessee, who's not that great at defense either, and then ending, assuming your league ends on week 17, Houston. So these next 3 weeks, I am really big on Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm also big on anyone Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be throwing to.
So, that schedule is such a cakewalk. And I wouldn't be mad if you started him. And like I've been saying, if you feel comfortable starting that guy, you start him because that schedule is so easy. Oh my gosh.
We talked about COVID earlier. If you're a person with Baker Mayfield, I don't know why you're starting Baker Mayfield anyway, unless it's like a 2-quarterback league. But if you are and you need a quarterback to fill in, or you have Lamar Jackson who might not play this week, we'll see how he is day to day. If Jimmy Garoppolo is available, and he should be in a lot of leagues, that's a pickup that could win you a championship just because of the schedule alone. But other than that, I think we nailed it. I'm gonna give us a good list. And like you said earlier, if you all think there's someone missing, I'll put the list up again. Yeah, for certain. Let us know if you think there's a quarterback missing, or if you think, hey, we have your guy Joe Burrow too far down on the list. He should be number 5 or 2. Yeah, let us know that as well. So
yeah, please, because I mean Joe Burrow's good, but I don't think he's better than these other guys.
No. But
so you want to hit this wide receiver list?
Sure. We can do that. You want to start it off?
Yeah, let's go. We got Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Deebo Sanders, Justin Jefferson, Chris Godwin, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, and your boy to finish off the list, Hunter Renfrow. So out of this list, like I say, you feel comfortable with this one. This is a good list. These guys are all doing work. You're going to war with these guys. My boy's up there, Debo. But I really want to talk about Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow has been playing lights out for the last 3 weeks. And you wasn't going to put him on this list.
Yeah, I was about to say, we talked when we were making this list, we had a very lengthy conversation. And I will be the first to admit I did not have Hunter Renfrow on my top 10. I wanted to, but I figured I was being too homerish. So I'm going to let you take the draft for this part because I'm happy he made the list. Why do you think he deserves to be up there?
Hunter Renfrow has made the last 3 weeks. Yeah. And you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're a fan.
I am a big fan.
Averaged at least minimum 10 receptions over the last 3 weeks. Around 10.
A little bit less than that, but yeah, he's close, especially of this past game. He
had
a monster
13
last year,
one game.
But I think in the past like 4 weeks, I think 6 is the fewest receptions he's had.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's really been the go-to receiver, being that Darren Waller hasn't been
yeah,
there, and he has he's helped like people win games. Like
he's helped me win games.
you can't be mad at it. Like I mean, I'm not being. And the thing is, like I tell you, he was not gonna put him up there. I have not been the biggest Hunter Ripple fan at all, but I have to recognize when he's doing well. So he really is doing well. So I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Now I know y'all can say, well, why is Debo on this list? He's been playing running back, but
he's a wide receiver though.
he's a wide receiver. He's being used as a running back quite few over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But he brings so much to the offense that we run. He can be so deadly running those jet sweeps and just running the ball in general. He opens it up for everybody else. I just think if it wasn't for Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams, he would definitely be number one right now. Definitely ahead of him. But Cooper Kupp is the man, though. I mean, Cooper Kupp is the man.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp had that. I watched that game against Arizona. Cooper Kupp, dog. Like, jeez.
Yo, Cooper Kupp is on one of my best teams. I have him, and he has been phenomenal this whole season. When we were putting together, there's just like no possible way you can have anybody other than him as the top wide receiver right now. He's balling out, and he gets volume. He gets touchdowns. Same thing you can say for Devontae Adams. And I'm with you. Deebo Samuel has to be on this list because he has been, you don't care whether he's doing it as a wide receiver or running back for your fantasy points. It's the same thing for you either way. So these guys are cool. There is, however, a few players I think probably could get some recognition at the wide receiver spot that we only wanted to do 10, so you kind of had to limit it somewhere.
Kind of limit it a little bit, yeah.
Anybody in particular you think just for those, because you might not have one of the top 10 people on your team, anybody in particular you think deserves some credit? I'm gonna go with the two Cincinnati guys that people might be looking for. That's Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Definitely.
And the issue with them not being in this top 10 list is consistency, I think, because you never know. It happens, but it's not a common thing where both of them are very productive at the same time. So a lot of we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that at the beginning of the season, a lot of it was Jamar Chase. Then it became a lot of T. Higgins when Jamar Chase started dropping the ball again. And so he had some drops last week, but he was able to pull it out and still have a really good game last week. But I think the only reason they're not in that top 10 is they're not quite as consistent on a week-to-week basis. And for the playoffs, you kind of have to be.
Well, I got a couple names. They started off hot, but they cooled off a little. Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah.
Is one that he started off really hot. He still could help you win a championship this year, just because he's really the number one receiver on that team. He just, I guess, over the last couple of weeks, he just hasn't really had it going. But I think coming back off of bye, I think he should be good. And another one, Mooney. Mm-hmm. Mooney has stepped up to be the number one receiver for the Chicago Bears with Allen Robinson. I don't know what's going on with that situation. It's kind of milky a little bit. He's not getting the ball. Something's wrong. I don't know. But the thing at the end of the day, he is the clear-cut number one receiver right now. And another one that I want to show love to, even though his team is really not good, is Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has been really, really good, even though, getting off the plane, he's number one receiver.
The only receiver. It's okay.
He's the only receiver.
He did all right this week. We talked about Davis Mills taking over that spot.
Big for him.
Yeah, he looks for him.
So he looks for him. So I think you got to show him some love. I think if he was on a better team,
Yeah.
he would definitely be on this list. It's just the situation he's in right now.
Quarterback
It's not good. Quarterback, team in general.
Yeah.
So it's tanking anyway. So
if you look at the list of wide receivers, you can almost directly link it to the list of quarterbacks that we talked about, and so that's why you see Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on that list, because they have the best quarterback in the league right now. So no doubt.
Definitely. I mean, those are the only ones. We could talk all day about receivers because there's a lot of guys that's been doing work. You just coming on lately. Amari Cooper, when healthy, is really good. Brandon Ayuk is coming along. You just got to get these guys. And one surprising one that's not doing well, even though he's coming back off injury a couple weeks ago, is Judy. Jerry Judy, I thought was going to be a lot better this year, being that he was supposed to be the number one receiver. He just really hasn't showed me anything at all.
He and we talked about Cortland Sutton earlier in the year, and the thing that's hindering both of them is that quarterback position. Teddy Bridgewater, he's a dinker, he's a dunker. They have to, in this offseason, get somebody better at quarterback, because Drew Lock obviously isn't it, because every time he's come in for Bridgewater, he's been terrible. But they've got to get somebody that can take advantage of the wide receivers they have there.
I mean, because they loaded. They have two. They actually got a third receiver that's pretty decent.
They have Tim Patrick there.
So they got
another guy whose name I can't think of right now, but they've got talented wide receivers there. Hamler? Hamler? Is it Hamler or something like that?
Yeah, Hamler.
Yeah.
So is it Tim Hamler? I think
it's something Hamler. I can't remember his first name.
Yeah, but they definitely
KJ?
You just gotta
Is it KJ Hamler? KJ Hamler.
KJ Hamler. Yeah. They definitely got the receivers there. It's just like you said, the quarterback is the problem, but I'm a little disappointed in Judy, but I can't put the whole blame on him.
No.
I put it a lot on the quarterback position too, so I'm not even mad at that. But hey, at the end of the day, there's a lot of players that have played with bad, like Brandon Cooks played with bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So you can't really use that as an excuse to say you're not playing well, but we'll see. I think Judy's still some guy you would draft next year.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty high.
Especially, like I said, especially if they can replace. Denver has the nucleus of a really good football team. Their defense is already good. We both talked about Javonte Williams. We're big on him. They have talented wide receivers. They don't have a good quarterback. So that's the only thing they're missing.
Well, let's see if they get Aaron Rodgers next year. If they get Aaron Rodgers, Judy is top 10 receiver next year.
Yeah.
Off this list, who finishes number one? It just being
still Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp? Okay.
Yeah, it's no one except for potentially the potential for Devontae Adams, because he and Aaron Rodgers just do their thing on a regular basis, and it's no small thing for Devontae Adams to have 15 to 20 targets in a game. Or I should say it's no big thing for that to happen. So, but I still say Kupp is the, by and large, guaranteed to be the top wide receiver in your playoffs. Yeah.
Does he end up, if Devontae Adams leaves Green Bay, is he top 10 next year?
Is Devontae Adams top 10 if he leaves Green Bay?
Yes.
I think Devontae Adams is top 10 no matter where he goes. we saw another guy who didn't make this list, DeAndre Hopkins. We talked about, who's out for the rest of the regular season. He played with Deshaun Watson, went over to Kyler Murray, and there's no really drop off in what he can do. The only thing that would hinder Devontae Adams if he went somewhere where there was a terrible quarterback, and he ain't doing that. Wherever he's going, he's going somewhere. Hopefully, Las Vegas, and hook up with his college teammate.
I can see that. Yeah. That would be huge for y'all.
Honestly. We need a number one wide receiver, and that you can't get better.
Derek Carr will be literally a top 10 quarterback next year.
He's the.
I think he's a top 10 quarterback now.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I
going
agree.
into fantasy next year.
But
So I
but
do think
maybe
that.
just maybe the thing that I've talked about with Derek Carr before, he can start throwing those touchdowns because
Yeah.
yards he's been doing for a while now. He can't get the touchdown thing. And if y'all think Hunter Renfrow is dangerous now, have Hunter Renfrow there with Devontae Adams getting the attention
That
away.
man, that underneath gonna be crazy.
Crazy. Him, Darren Waller.
Waller. Oh my
we
gosh, I don't
immediately
even.
would be the best receiving core in the NFL, bar none.
In that division with the Chiefs too, that'll be tough. That'll be a tough division.
That would be
that'd
fun.
Be tough.
That would be fun to watch. Which
it would be.
Which is why it won't happen. just for me, it can't take place. But that's my secret dream and wish.
Let's yeah. You want to touch on some
running
backs?
Receivers? I mean, right. We just did wide receivers. Running backs. Let's hit them.
Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, Cordell Patterson, by the way, people. Austin Eckler, Antonio Gibson, Leonard Fournette, Joe Mixon, and Elijah Mitchell. Hey, touch on it. What you think?
Yeah, this is the Jonathan Taylor is like the no-brainer on this list.
Of course,
Jonathan Taylor. I said y'all before that two of the teams that I have bye weeks on, I have Tom Brady as my quarterback. On those same two teams, I also have Jonathan Taylor as my number one running back. And did I mention that I have bye weeks in both of those? These guys are the reason why. If you want to talk about other people on this list, Eckler's been great all year.
Yes.
He's been a guy I'm so sad that Derrick Henry can't be on this list. And neither can CMC because they really would be if they could be playing, but injuries happen. I like Joe Mixon on this list. On just throwing out a name because Joe Mixon, we a lot of times talk about sometimes have these let down years, but he's been Cincinnati, despite the fact that they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and still Tyler Boyd's there. They have an arsenal of wide receivers. They've been really concentrated on their run game, and so he's on this that I really think should be able to get you to the championship potentially. So
what's crazy about Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon is a slow starter. Every year.
Yeah,
I mean he takes 8 games to get going. But it was funny. It does. He takes half a season to get going. But what's funny this year is he actually started from game 1.
Yeah, he did well.
And he actually he did work from game 1. I think this list. I love Najee.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be the #1 running back going into next year.
Yeah.
No, like hands down. My surprise though, going into the playoffs, it's not surprising, but Cordell Patterson is a running back. I'm not even listing him as a receiver anymore.
Yeah.
He's definitely a running back. He goes into next year as a running back.
That's going to be an interesting thing. Can he? Because this is a so much of an anomaly in his entire career. The best thing about Cordell Patterson has always been his special teams play. The fact that he is a legit top running back in this league, whether he's catching or running, doesn't even matter. He's been phenomenal this entire year. And the biggest surprise by far in fantasy football, does he duplicate it next year?
Like I think I mean, in that system in Atlanta, I think he does because they use him in the right way. They use him a certain way, so I think he will. But my biggest, outside of him, is Eckler. Eckler doesn't get any love at all.
I love that, though. Yeah.
Me too. I do. I love all of it because I got Eckler in 5 leagues. So I love all of it. And y'all keep not showing him some love. I don't care about that. Y'all don't have to show Eckler love. Eckler, for me, is right now, I put him in the same, even though he's not the running back to get 1,000 yards, but he can get you 1,000 yards receiving. He's going to get you 800 yards rushing.
Yeah.
He's better than CMC right now because CMC can't stay on the field. He's better than Saquon because Saquon can't stay on the field right now.
Same reason, right.
You don't draft, for me, CMC falls to, he might not be in my top 10 next year because you got guys like Javonte Williams who's coming along.
Yeah.
You got Michael Carter who's coming along.
He's not getting
Mitchell.
younger. Right.
He's not getting younger.
Yeah.
These guys are really going to eat into that list. Those three alone, Mitchell, Carter, Javonte Williams, these guys are going to eat into that list. And he's going to drop out of, even though at anything outside of 10, he's going to get good value for him at 10, but anything after 10. But I don't see myself at the end of the day drafting CMC. CMC is out of my top 10 next year.
I'm not putting him out of my top 10 yet, but I will say he ain't going to be in my tier 1.
No. Yeah, he's not in my tier 1, but he's definitely not in my top 10.
He's
I can
tier
name
2.
10 running backs better. So definitely.
That's me. Another good name on this list I like, and this one is sort of a surprise, not quite the Cordero Patterson surprise, but Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette has been on a tear these past few weeks, and based off last year, he was the guy. Because my father, I know who's watches, he had Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette last year, and his constant dilemma was which one of those two do I play. There's absolutely no question about who to play this year, and that's another player I know a lot of people picked up late, and he's a guy that can get you a championship because the way they're using him right now, he gets cut, he gets touches, and he's been producing with it.
Is he back next year with Tampa Bay?
I think so.
Think so?
I mean, I hope so.
Or does he go get?
Because
now does he go get the bag? Does he go get the big paycheck?
Yeah, I know, right?
Because at this point, if they win the Super Bowl and he gets another Super Bowl, is he chasing the money, or is he saying I'm going back for a 1-year deal?
Well, the thing is, he was he wasn't terrible, but he was in a terrible situation with the Jaguars for so long, and he got the taste of a championship his first year away from them. And like you said, if they do it again, I hope not. It's not like he needs to stay there for a champion, right? So I think he's gonna try to. I would definitely try to sign for the most I could get, as long as he doesn't, end up in some terrible place like back in Jacksonville. But
I mean, his reputation was lost.
Yeah.
A couple years ago because he got cut from Jackson. I remember the day because you drafted him into like 5
every league.
And he was like, man, he about to go off and such and such, and they cut him. And I'm like, that's just weird. Like, why are you cutting him? He's an all-pro running back. But he had a couple down years in Tampa last year. He got hot in the playoffs, and it just continued this year. So I mean, honestly, I would want to be on a championship team, but in the back of your mind, 2 great years, do you go try to get the money?
For me, I think you do. I mean, because he's a running back, and they don't get money. It's not like he's a quarterback, and he can look for all these great contracts extensions. Running backs don't get that. So for me, any running back, get your money as soon as you can because you're not going to have a lot of opportunities to do so.
I mean, for me, I think I can think of a team that needs a running back, which is Buffalo. He'll be great in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Not similar situation as in Tampa, but good quarterback, good receiver, good tight end. I think he'll fit well in Buffalo, but I think he should go for the
coach that you can have confidence in, knowing how to use you. So
exactly.
That's a team that, like you said, needs that because
they need a running back there.
They have not had a run again, so he would be a great fit. Players that's not on the list for this top 10. And again, for the viewers, if y'all want to chime in on people you think should be included, you won't see Aaron Jones on this list. And I think a lot of the reason why he didn't, like I said, we kept this to 10, which limited who we could get in. I think the A.J. Dillon thing probably knocked him a little bit out of the top. He showed just this past week he can still do it with less touches. A.J. Dillon actually out-touched Aaron Jones. But
do you think that situation get a little weird this offseason?
I'm interested to see how it goes this offseason because They're both really talented, and
I just think you get Aaron Jones, but you get it's I don't know, man. That situation is weird. I feel like because they just gave Aaron Jones the money,
right?
They can't get out of that. They would have to pay him a bunch of money to release him or trade him.
Yeah,
but I just don't think.
I think they have to roll with it for now. But
wow, I mean, it's nothing wrong with a two-headed monster. Don't get me wrong, but I just think he got the money.
Yeah,
but he's getting less carries. I mean, obviously, it's not that much wear and tear on his body because of that. But I can see that working. But it's just weird though. He came and they got to figure out what they're gonna do with him because they can't put their guy back on the bench. No way.
No way possible. We talked before likening it somewhat to what they not this week because Kareem Hunt won't be available. But sort of like they do with Nick Chubb, who also didn't make the top 10 list. He's not been great these last weeks. But Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, two-headed monster. Maybe they try to do something similar to that with this group. Because like you said, you can't have A.J. Dillon relegated to the bench like he was most of the season. Not after what he's shown when he had the opportunity to get carries.
And again, this list is for the guys that's most valuable at this point of the season. There's no knock on Aaron Jones. There's no knock on Nick Chubb. It's just these guys are valuable to your football team at the moment. These are the guys that could help you win a championship and feel comfortable playing them and not think twice about saying, do I put them in a game or not? This is what this list is about. Now, other lists we make, those are the rankings. These are guys that just want to clarify that because I don't want anybody to think, well, y'all didn't put Aaron Jones up here. Y'all crazy. No, this is because these are guys that's been playing well lately. So that's what it comes down to. So,
and just not just playing well because Aaron Jones hasn't been playing poorly. He's been not playing some of the weeks that he missed. But it's just a fact of the 10 we listed are what we feel are the most reliable. You don't ever have to question them having a bad game as you go through the playoffs. But I have Aaron Jones in a couple leagues, and Aaron Jones is definitely starting in every league that I have him in because why wouldn't you? So no knock
on. Yeah, we gonna finish this up with tight ends. It's not many. Tight ends. We tried to not have 10 tight ends. But we definitely we got a few. George Kittles, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, Darren Waller, TJ Hawkinson. But I want to put an asterisk on, depending on injury status, Darren Waller and TJ Hawkinson. Obviously the top four. Kelce hasn't been performing too well lately. Yeah. But I think he's just in a bad funk. I think he gets out of it. Yeah. Mark Andrews has been lighting the world on fire.
And Mark Andrews was phenomenal after Lamar Jackson went out. So if Lamar Jackson doesn't play this week, I don't think you're very worried about Mark Andrews. Yeah.
You should really. And George Kittle has just been on fire.
George Kittle. You were a bit surprised that I didn't start with Travis Kelce. When
we made the list, I was like, he not started with Kittle.
Yeah. Because Kelce is always my dude, but you would have to be blind to not see what George Kittle has been doing these past few weeks. And once again, for those that aren't aware, that schedule is cake. So easy. It's so easy. I am very excited about what George Kittle's going to do for me this week.
Atlanta. The thing about it is this. I've been telling people have been knocking him because he doesn't score touchdowns. But if you get him involved, this is what you get when you get him involved every game. When you make it a priority to get him the ball. George Kittle can get you close to 100 yards every week if you get him the ball. Yeah. And they've been trying to get him the ball. Like, if you see what he's doing, he has never scored over 5 touchdowns in a season over the last couple of years. He has over 5 touchdowns now. That's what getting him involved does for you. Yeah. So I think the last time he scored a bunch of touchdowns was 2018. Right. He had 10 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. So, but other than that, he hasn't had a double-digit touchdown season since then. Yeah. But you have to get him involved. Yeah. And they have playmakers, and that's the thing. Get him involved. I think he had 15 receptions last week and 13 before that. It's just been crazy numbers. Don't sleep on Darren Waller. Darren Waller just got to get healthy.
The only reason that asterisk is he gonna be healthy enough? And
yes,
if he is, you definitely plug him in. But you just have that question mark. But if he doesn't, a guy that we didn't put on the list, but I feel very comfortable about stepping up to fill a role. Dawson Knox has been
yes,
he's been really good in Buffalo, especially since Stephon Diggs, who you might have noticed was on our wide receiver list, hasn't put up Diggs like numbers that we saw last year. Dawson Knox is a guy, if you have him on your roster, you can feel free starting him as well.
So, question for you: going into next year, being that we at fantasy playoffs, but going into next year, number one tight end.
Travis Kelce is always the number one tight end. What are you talking about?
Really? Even if Kittle stays on this hot streak going into next year, number one tight end.
Number one tight end, Travis Kelce. That's no question.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going Kittles.
It's Kelce and Kittles. Hey, we said 1A, 1B always. But if you asking me who am I more likely to want to go start off with, Travis Kelce. No question about it. Hey,
I thought I was gonna get you all the way over here.
When was the last time Travis Kelce wasn't the top tight end in fantasy football in the NFL? We're not talking blocks because you don't get points for blocks. George Kittle is way better at that.
I'm saying offensive, just pure offense.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but
okay.
The first year that Travis Kelce is not the top tight end with touchdowns and receptions is the year that I switch over to George Kittle. What's going to happen? Because Travis Kelce is also getting long in the tooth. It could happen next year. But if you ask me who I'm drafting first, unless something changes in the offseason, Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going Kittles. You can have him.
You said that this year.
And I got him one time, but everybody seemed to steal him from me for some reason. I mean, I'm going to stop putting my secrets out here. Lord.
I give Kittle this. If you're watching George Kittle, you win me a championship this year, then I might bump you to the top of the list.
Wow. Okay.
I've won championships with Travis Kelce. I've never won a championship with George Kittle. So prove it to me.
That's what it takes.
That's what it takes. Huh? What have you done for me ever?
Okay, I got you. I don't want no beef. I got you.
No.
I'm gonna start giving my secrets out because everybody keeps stealing my secrets in the leagues we're playing.
Yeah.
So I gotta hide my secrets from now on because I've tried to get George Kittle many of times and it's just everybody snatch him up from me. Yeah. But it's okay
because he's great. He's no doubt the second best tight end that's going around right now.
Number one
in our playoff rankings.
That's all that matters at this point, don't it?
Hey, I have Travis Kelce in other leagues, so I can't say I'm not. I can't say I'm gonna be rooting harder for George Kittle, but I will be rooting hard for George Kittle because the league I have George Kittle in, I have been in the championship the past 2 years and have come up empty-handed the past 2 years. The last time I won a championship in that league, I think it was like 2015 or something like that. It's been a long time.
Was it a year we played?
Was my last championship against you? I can't remember. It might have been.
It's been a while.
It's been so long, I can't remember. There you go.
Yeah, we ain't been in the championship together in that league in a long time.
Yeah.
So it could happen this year, though. We need to bring that back. So let's bring that back, man. Try to get back in the championship. So
let's do it. We play in enough leagues together. We gotta meet up somewhere.
We're gonna meet up somewhere.
We're both in the playoffs in all our leagues that we play together in. So our paths will probably cross somewhere. Maybe next week.
We will let y'all know. maybe next week. Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Well, actually, I'm assured to be there. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely gonna be there. So you got to make it there for me to see you. So. I agree with you. We'll see. But that's all we got. You got anything else, Johnny?
That is all. So we put out our list, like I said before. Check us out, rnjfantasyfootballtalk.com. You can see the full list posted on the website. We'll put it up on social media. Follow us, Instagram, Facebook. On Twitter. You can see our handles up there. Let us know if you have other questions about your playoff teams. Let us know. We'll be glad to get back with you.
Hey, you know what it is. We're here. We ain't going nowhere. Let's go, people.
All right. Best of luck to y'all.
Playoff time.
It's playoffs. Let's go. Peace out.
All right.